个城区的分界线啊，就是这两个城市一左一右，在这个桥的两头啊，所以其实沿着这条查尔斯河来说呢，就全部都是哈佛的校区，还有就是 MIT 的校区啊，都是一路在这边。好了，那我们10分钟到了，一大早啊 ，The beautiful Harvard morning tour，all right，let's go to it。那一大早啊，我们走一走这个哈佛校园沿啊。可能大家会想啊，对吧？一个哈佛的正门啊，几个大字啊，很抱歉，这个没有啊。为什么呢？因为它建校太早了，400年前，所以它当年都是一个一个校区啊，慢慢的一个个起来的啊，是没有那些好像我们现在一个牌匾很壮观的一个大门啊，没有，因为它400来年。Yeah, maybe I can tell a lot of friends, maybe let's look at one thing. So there's like kind of, a sign right there, like a big entrance, big gate, it's like Harvard University. You do want to have a photo right there, right? But, apologies, so we just don't have it. Because Harvard, all around Cambridge City right here, maybe more than 13 campuses. Just because, the first campus of Harvard, was established after 1636, almost like 400 years ago. Yeah, just like a small campus back then, so you're not like today, go to kind of, you're just kind of worldwide university, big entrance, big gate, big words right there. But yeah, Harvard just doesn't have it. But this is the Harvard, not a history. There's a lot of superstars, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Matt Damon, if I were Harvard, right? Watch this.
Enter through one of Harvard's infamous gates. The entire wall is lined by gates. John Street, which is over there, was built in 1889. The gate we just walked through is known as the Porcellian Gate because it's named after the infamous Final Club, which donated it, which has the door right across the street. Harvard's Final Clubs are not so secret societies. They're similar to sororities or fraternities at other schools. Now that we're in the yard, you may see these buildings around us. These are actually freshman dorms. So at Harvard, every first-year freshman lives inside the yard. We're surrounded by 3 of the most famous freshman dorms. Right behind us, we have Wigglesworth. Wigglesworth is a favorite of the freshman dorms because of its nicknames. It's Bigwig, Wiglet, and Midwig, and it's connected by tunnels. Wigglesworth also sits above the Boston Metro system, so when the train runs, Wigglesworth wiggles. Now, Wigglesworth has 2 very famous alumni. Small sum of money in its book collection that Harvard became the university it is today. Now here on the Harvard tour, we like to correlate as much Harvard history to American history. As America matured into a formal nation, so too did Harvard mature into a formal university. During America's expansionist period of 1800, Harvard too underwent its greatest expansion. We added our first graduate school in 1782, 7 years before the signing of the U.S. Constitution with the Harvard Medical School. And then during the 1800s, we went on to add the Divinity School, the Dental School, the Law School, and to cap off the century, the Business School. Now, with all this change, maybe you guys know that Harvard did not accept its first African-American student until 1847, a man by the name of Beverly Garnett Williams. But he had decidedly died of tuberculosis before the academic year could begin. It wouldn't be another 23 years before Harvard would accept its next African-American student, a man by the name of William T. Greener, who would graduate and go on to become dean at Howard College, America's most famed historically black university. Now, with all this progress, you may be surprised to hear one thing was still missing: women. No woman attended Harvard until 1879, when Harvard created a program called the Harvard Annex, which gave women the opportunity to study at Harvard. This program was later renamed Radcliffe College and moved a couple blocks west down to Garden Street. Professors would come to the yard in the morning and teach the men, then stroll down to the Radcliffe in the afternoon to teach the women the exact same material. Now, this highly inefficient system stood until World War II, when there weren't enough men to take classes in the yard. So for the very first time, women were invited to the Harvard yard to take their classes. Just as American women proved they could hold down the fort at home, so too did Harvard women prove themselves in the classroom. This began a process we call the Great Integration, where throughout the 1950s and 60s, classes were integrated and then dorms. But the first one,
Wrong name.
name is wrong. Yeah, so John Harvard didn't found Harvard. Although the university is named after him, he did not found it. The other one's related to John Harvard. Maybe the date. Yes. Yeah, so the date's wrong. So Harvard was founded in 1636, but John Harvard did die in 1638. Now the last one's the hardest, but it's staring us straight in the face. That is actually not John Harvard. So there's two theories about who that man can be. The first is it's a descendant of John Harvard, but let's face the facts. John Harvard was a sick man with a rickety hand, a bad back, who died of tuberculosis at the young age of 31 with no children. We think bad genetics, so we don't think any of his descendants could have looked like that and put the medal. Additionally, all of John Harvard's likeness, images, and portraits were destroyed in the Great Harvard Hall fire of 1726, meaning that Daniel Chester French would have had nothing to go off of. So our second theory, to understand this one, you must know that when Harvard presidents die, we have a tradition of naming large, luxurious upperclassmen houses after these. These houses are not simple homes, but fully equipped dorms with dining halls, study rooms, and libraries. So when President Lowell died, he got Lowell House. When President Mather died, he got Mather House. President Dunster died, he got Dunster House. But there was one president by the name of Leonard Hoare. And when he died, Harvard had a conundrum for two reasons. One, they said they could not and would not have a Hoare House for obvious reasons. Number two is President Hoare was hated. He was a president during the early 1730s, and he was known for flogging students, making poor decisions, being a pretty mean guy. Amazing. So keeping with our historical theme, we're going to fast forward to the 1970s. It was a rough time for America. You had Watergate, recession, the end of the Vietnam War, but it was also a rough time for Harvard, especially in terms of architecture. Two of our houses built during that time, Mather and Leverett House, are considered so ugly they are often airbrushed out of the postcards you can buy here today. And any photo Harvard self-publicized of those those two houses simply do not exist. Now the pinnacle of Harvard's 1970s architecture, this building right in front of us, is called the Science Center. It is rumored to be modeled after a Polaroid camera because the Polaroid family donated money for its construction. And it may not be much for the eye to behold, but it is a very efficient and effective building. As you move up in the floors, the equipment gets more and more complex. Now if we had a little bit of a farther view, you would see there are actually two bulbs at the top. Those are telescopes. Now there's a theory you can tell how smart a Harvard student is based on which floor of the Science Center their classes are on. So let's make a joke here about how I've only ever taken classes in the basement. But because I studied the humanities and the social sciences, I've actually never taken a class in the Science Center. But I do like the vending machines in the basement. I'm on the women's rugby team. Here in my coach. But there's only about 12 of our team. But yeah, we have a very interesting because we have sports ranging from squash, sailing, fencing, to more traditional things like